Welcome to the Waymaker podcast studio. I am here with a most amazing man, big time in the NFL. His name is Troy Vincent. Troy, welcome to the studio.
Thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure coming to the old Windy City.
Well, the Windy City is always happy to have you, we think. So talk about, you've just gone in and talked to the folks at the summit with Lewis. Tell us what's going on, what you talked about with Lewis and your conversation in there.
Excellent conversation. Lewis allowed me to just share kind of my career path and going from the gridiron, as we would say, to the boardroom, that transition, decision making, leadership, and frankly, most of our time was just spent on philosophy. And he gave me the platform just to share just a few things that you hope that the audience that you can speak to, one or two individuals in the audience that may pick up something that they can apply to their life that may resonate with them in their either professional or personal life to do a little bit better, or to say, you know what, I'm not the only one thinking that way or experience that. And the key is just to be persistent, be intentional. So that conversation, the one-on-one, it was healthy for me. Very healthy.
Yeah, sometimes talking it out is therapeutic. But I do want to know, this is NFL time. The season started a week and a half ago. Everybody's paying attention to what's going on. And I don't think many people know that we've got a black man this high up in the NFL as you are. So I would like for you to talk about your journey to get to where you are.
So after 15 years of playing, 4 years in Miami, 4 years in Miami, 8 years in Philadelphia, 3 years in Buffalo, and I concluded my playing experience. I don't use the term career because athletics is not a career. It's an experience. Then I transitioned over to player operations, player development at the time, and now in my 9th season as the head of football operation. What is that? The chief football officer. Anything that deals with the game, integrity of the game, officiating, player operations, that's education for players past, present, and future. I get involved with the growth of the game. And most of my time is spent on the evolution of the health and safety initiatives. The game of what we all grew up watching, like the '85 Bears, is not the game of today. The game has evolved. As I would say, it's a different game. It's a safer game. It's a better game. So just being able just to share that process.
Well, anytime you want to talk about the '85 Bears in Chicago, we want to hear it because it hasn't been like that anytime since. And I talked to Richard Dent, Otis Wilson, a good friend. So every year that the Bears don't win, they become that much more popular.
And you know, Dent actually and I were teammates in Philly.
Is that right?
So Dent and I played, I think, his last either year or two. Ray Bob, Coach Rhodes, had brought Dent over, and we were teammates. He was something else, boy.
Still is. Great guy, though. Just a wonderful, wonderful guy. Wonderful team, wonderful legacy. When you think about what you're doing in health and safety, and there's been and even thinking about the '85 Bears, because Dave Dewison was also a good friend, and thinking about CTE and what's happened there. What is the league doing to try and help to stop that kind of thing from happening, or players to get come up with this kind of thing?
So when you just think about return to play today, that term didn't exist.
Yeah.
Just policies and processes on just injury, collecting injury, treating injury, and in particular head and neck injuries, and a process in returning to play. With science, engineering, tracking now, the amount of resources, and I'm actually proud to say, as a former player, the efforts that the Players Association, the club owners, the commissioner, the amount of attention that they've put on player safety efforts due to learnings and some mishaps. It's a different game. It's a different game today for parents as they consider, should my child play? The resources that they have, to answer your question, for families are resources and support that they've never had before. We've never had before. In the past, players didn't take care of players, even around injuries. Today, the peer-to-peer, I see something's a little bit abnormal. I'm checking in with not only are they checking in with their buddy, but they're also going back and reporting that properly so that people get the proper care at the appropriate time.
How do you deal with situations, again, very current, another brother, DeMar Hamlin, and he suffered cardiac issue last year, effectively died on the field. But does he play again? How do you, I don't know what the NFL, LeBron James' son, Bronny, experienced a similar thing at USC. How do you watch out? How do you ward against those kind of things when you're thinking about how the game grows and even talking to and considering with parents who would ask, should my child play football?
When you think about the Lamar Hamlin situation, I was on hand, on site, that particular, when I say on site, working the game that particular evening. He had a cardiac arrest. The likelihood of that happening in a professional game, I'm not sure we'll ever see it again, at least in my lifetime. It was the one opportunity where we literally had an opportunity to share the care and the expertise of the medical people. Those first responders on the field, on the sideline, that night saved his life. The best of the best. There wasn't politicized. They were at their best that moment, and they saved this young man's life. Now, his return to play, again, you now have extensive club-led, just extensive evaluations, testing of experts that are heart experts, that are just experts in the body, the heart, the lungs, and they give advice to the player. And now the player has to make a decision, and the club, should I continue to play? And obviously, DeMar has had a remarkable recovery, and he made the club.
It's amazing.
Amazing.
It's amazing. Thinking about the things that you look at in health and safety, you played for 15 years.
Yes, sir.
Most players we don't see elevate within the league and the league operations as you have. We may see players come through and become coaches. We see players do a number of other things. The path that you took, though, coming from being a player to the level that you are within the league itself, talk about that journey and what some of the issues or some of the challenges or some of the opportunities were that came to you in order to get to here.
My labor experience, I truly believe in that path. As a player on a current roster, it was always about what is life after the game ends. So player programs was something that I was always involved in, either leading those efforts, creating, participating in. I served as a union officer for 13 of my 15 years, as a rep, as a vice president for many years, and as president. So the individuals that I work alongside today many are the same individuals that are my colleagues today at the league office. I negotiated 4 collective bargaining agreement extensions. I was on every player health and safety panel. So all of the issues, things around player experience, the growth of the game, all of those things were part of what I was doing as a player and an elected official. So the transition on topics was a smooth transition. It's just the uniform had changed. And I truly believe, and I share this all the time, had I not handled myself a certain way while I was playing with the people that I'm with today, Commissioner Goodell and his team are not hiring me. I applied for the position. Mike Haynes, you probably remember Mike Haynes, the Hall of Famer, the corner. Mike was diagnosed with cancer, prostate cancer, and there was a job available in player development in the National Football League. And Commissioner had called to say, Mike is ill. Would you consider applying for this role? That's how I started.
So doing the work as you were doing for the players is what gave you the exposure to the.
No question. And I had a full understanding of the business of football.
Yeah. Talk a bit, Troy, if you would, and Lewis may have asked you the same question, because this summit is about being uncomfortable and growing out of the uncomfortability. Can you talk about some issues, sometimes when you may have experienced the uncomfortability and how you came through that?
If I'm not uncomfortable, I always say something's wrong. My whole life was about being uncomfortable, but then yet finding peace, as I would say, that's in peace in the wilderness. That's that, when you're not comfortable, how do you manage? How do you make decisions? How do you grow in these environments or places where you're uncomfortable? Preparation. Preparation, it may not be perfect, but preparation allows me to make informed decisions. May not be perfect, but at least I've prepared and I've planned. The plan may not be executed 100%. There may be something, but we're always in that position in life, in business, in our relationships. But when you're intentional about your work and being dedicated to your work, when you're put in those situations, you find there's light at the end of the tunnel. You find a solution to get on the other side.
And so as you tell the young men who are here and the young men who are listening, what's the best advice you can give them from what you've learned in the time that you've been in the job you're in, the jobs before? What do you tell them about?
Best advice and I left this with the group. 2 things that I would just share to have someone meditate on. The things that you tolerate, you will not change. Everyone could grasp that. The things that you tolerate, you will not change. Then secondly, the compromises of today, your compromises of today becomes tomorrow's standard. That's me looking myself in the mirror. That's every individual, because you can't point the finger at anybody. What we tolerate, we won't change. In today's compromise, if I'm going to cheat the system, becomes tomorrow's standard.
Great lessons to leave us on. Troy Vincent, I don't want to mess up your title. He runs Roger Goodell at the NFL.
No. My title, I serve the commissioner of the National Football League. But by title, it's the executive vice president of football operations.
That's exactly what I was going to call you if I had given the title for real.
Really?
It was. Without even looking at my computer or thinking anyplace else, because that's
a pleasure.
Who you are and that's what you do. Troy,
It's been a pleasure.
It's been wonderful talking to you.
Thank you
so much for being here at the summit, and thank you so much for doing what you do for what I've also called the most important, unimportant thing.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Thank you for your kind words.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.